This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Welcome in. I'm Rebecca Smith.
I'm Bill Bryant. Hope you have an umbrella. It is coming down out there, and in many areas it is still arriving as we have rain going on. So now at 6 a.m., a man has been sent to the hospital this morning following an overnight crash. Slick road conditions, it appears, are to blame.
Hillary Clinton is expected to formally accept her party's nomination for president tonight, one day after President Obama implored Americans to elect her to the White House.
And a Lexington family is getting closer to having a new home, and it is all thanks to some volunteers.
The first wave of heavy rain is now trying to move out of northern Kentucky. We'll take a bit of a break down toward the southwest of us, and then the next batch of rain comes flying on in here in the next couple of hours. We're going to go over when the south and southeastern zones will actually start to get in the mix coming up.
So as we just heard from Micah, rain is moving through several areas of the Commonwealth this morning, and it's more to come as the day goes along.
Causing some problems. It's already caused one crash in Lexington. WKYT's Mark Barber is joining us live with details on this.
Good morning, Rebecca. That wreck happened here at South Broadway and Gibson Avenue, and this is where police say a man was driving outbound when he crashed into a person who was riding in a motorized wheelchair. Now, I just spoke with a gas station clerk here who says that he knows that man who was hit very well, and he tells me that man was a veteran. Now, that man was taken to the hospital. However, he is expected to be okay, so not serious injuries there. Now, police do not know why this crash happened, but they tell us it was dark and raining at the time, so the driver is not being charged. Now, those same wet conditions are still an issue right now. Roads are soaked throughout the city, and the visibility is not great. So these roads are certainly going to slow you down this morning. It's not a bad idea at all to plan a few extra minutes into your morning drive. Now, we have been out checking some of these conditions for you, and one person on our team here tells us that he has not spotted any standing water on any roads throughout the city so far. So that's the good news there, but again, you will really want to take your time because things are still very slick. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you. And Hillary Clinton will be accepting her party's nomination for president tonight on the final day of the Democratic National Convention.
The Democratic presidential nominee got an impassioned endorsement from President Barack Obama last night, who joined other speakers in attacking her opponent, Donald Trump. Jimmy Yukas has the latest from Philadelphia.
Hillary Clinton joined President Obama on the convention stage, her former political foe turned biggest ally.
She is fit and she is ready to be the next commander-in-chief.
The president used his address Wednesday night to bash her opponent, Donald Trump.
The Donald is not really a plans guy. He's not really a facts guy either.
Vice President Joe Biden, newly minted VP Tim Kaine, and others added their voices to the multi-pronged attack.
He has no clue about what makes America great. Actually, he has no clue, period. You cannot believe one word that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth.
Trump says he wants to run the nation like he's running his business? God help us. I'm a New Yorker, and I know a con when I see one.
Top Democrats also used their remarks to bash Donald Trump and his call to Russia to find Hillary Clinton's missing emails.
It is inconceivable to me that any presidential candidate would be that irresponsible.
Delegates in the arena say they're even more energized to vote for Clinton in November.
We cannot have Donald Trump as our president. I mean, the man is just off his rocker.
Clinton will have the last word tonight when she formally accepts the Democratic nomination for president. Jamie Yukas, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Chelsea Clinton is expected to introduce her mother tonight. The day's theme is Stronger Together.
A man accused in a string of Lexington robberies is headed to court later this morning. Police arrested Kelly Cox yesterday at a home near Beaumont Middle School. He is charged with 3 counts of robbery. In the last week, police say Cox robbed 2 banks and a gas station. Police say Cox also robbed one of those banks back in 2010 and was out of prison on parole at the time of these latest robberies.
Lexington police also arrested Sean Taylor in a separate string of robberies. They say he robbed a bank in April and a different bank last week. He's also accused in an attempted bank robbery. Both suspects will be arraigned this afternoon.
And police are still searching for a man accused of robbing a Lexington CVS store at gunpoint. That happened around 9 o'clock last night at the CVS on Old Todd's Road. Police say a man bought some merchandise, or at least brought it up to the counter and acted like he was going to buy it. But when the clerk opened up the register, the thief pulled out a gun and demanded money. He then ran off with some cash. Police say the suspect is a white man, about 5'6", weighs about 140 pounds. He was last seen wearing a black shirt, olive-colored shorts, and a black hat.
We're following a developing story out of Louisville. WKYT's Michelle Chamberlain's at our alert desk with details.
A gun store in Louisville has just been broken into, and police think the suspects may still be inside that store. It's happening at a gun shop near Interstate 64. Police say someone drove a truck through the gun shop, and police and SWAT teams have the building surrounded right now. This after another gun store was broken into yesterday. Take a look. A giant hole is what's left of the front door at Tilford's Discount Guns in Louisville. Police say the suspects used a stolen Corvette to ram into the door to make their entrance, causing thousands of dollars in damage. Now, by the time police arrived, the suspects had already made off with thousands of dollars worth of guns. Police are working with ATF to find the suspects of that burglary and, of course, track down the stolen weapons. And we'll keep you updated on this morning's breaking news as we get more information. Guys, back to you.
Thank you. Certainly the methods seem to be quite similar there. 6:06 on WKYT. We've learned that a Central Kentucky man ended up in jail after a flight from Lexington to Charlotte. Michael Kerr is charged with interference with the duties of a flight crew member or a flight attendant, along with assault and communicating threats.
Investigators say Kerr caused a disturbance on an American Airlines flight last week. A passenger on the plane took eyewitness video. Police say Kerr got out of his seat and threatened to break a flight attendant's jaw when he was asked to return to his seat. Police say he also kicked and shoved the flight crew before having to be physically restrained. They say Kerr was believed to be intoxicated during the flight. University of Louisville trustees have accepted the resignation of President James Ramsey. Ramsey's credited with raising academic standards and creating research institutions during his 14-year tenure. But his time at the university was also plagued by numerous scandals. After 6 hours of closed-door deliberations, the board announced Ramsey will receive nearly $700,000 and resign immediately.
Well, a Lexington family will soon have a new home, and it is all thanks to volunteers. Taziki's Mediterranean Cafe is working with Habitat for Humanity to build a home for the Kabuki family. They're out on Millbank Road. Yesterday, volunteers raised the walls on the new home. The Kabuki family came to Kentucky 5 years ago. They say they have dreamed of owning their own home ever since then.
It's really nice of them to come up here and help us, and even though they had stuff to do probably, but it took the time.
The Kabuki family says the new home is expected to be move-in ready by October.
I don't know of any construction workers that will be working today. If you're trying to do that, southern zones, southeastern zones, you better knock it out as early as possible, because here's the deal. The first batch of rain, central and north and eastern zones. And northeastern zones, that's moving toward the northeast. There's some heavy downpours within this. Was a flash flood warning? Well, there is right there for that Shelby, Spencer, Franklin, and also portions of Scott County. It really includes the Stamping Ground region. That's about it there in Scott County. But nonetheless, some heavy downpours still flying across the region. You look back towards, say, Moorhead and Rowan County, and also make your way into Carter, Lewis counties now, as the heaviest rain continues to make its way north and northeast. Maysville Road is going to be soaked this morning. Danville getting a heavy downpour that's rolling off into northern portions of Garrett County. That Bryantsville region as you're sliding up that Nicholasville Road area. Also work your way back toward Tate's Creek, Richmond Road. Very wet this morning. Richmond picking up on some sprinkles at this moment, not too much. Some pretty heavy downpours as you work your way northbound too. So some light rain falling at this moment, but you had some really heavy rain anywhere from Shelbyville, Simpsonville, the Outlet Mall area. Work your way down into portions of Spencer County. Frankfort, Peaks Mill, Stamping Ground, those areas have had some tremendous amounts of rain early this morning, 1 to 2 inches in those spots already. We got another wave coming, so don't expect. This will actually be taken off at 6:45, but possibility of another one being issued here in the next couple of hours. That next batch of rain moves on in. So by 8 a.m., I don't expect everybody to be seeing rain by that time. Once we hit 9, 10, 11 noon, that's when the bulk of the rain really covers the region. We're already getting some of that bulk, but it's in waves. It's one after another. So you will get breaks but then here comes another bulk of some heavy rain, and that goes into the afternoon. Morning, early afternoon hours, and when I say early afternoon, I'm talking noon to about 4 p.m. is your best bet at some heavy rain. Once we get past that, then the heaviest part is long gone once we get past that off into the evening hours. So if you're trying to head out, Lexington Restaurant Week's going on tonight. If you have any events going on tonight, more than likely you'll be able to get those in, but still can't rule out a hit and miss shower or thunderstorm during that time during the evening hours. Overnight into tomorrow morning, that's the same story. The widespread rain will be long gone by the evening, and then once we head off into the night and in through the next few days, it's hit and miss here and there. So the majority of the rain that you pick up is actually morning and early afternoon. Look at that plume of moisture. Look at 4 inches showing up there in Moorhead on this particular model. Southeast, not as much, but still some pretty good chances of rain in your area too. Everybody gets in on the action today. Every single person, if you're watching right now, you will get rain today at some point. And once again, the evening hours, guys, it looks to fade away. 79 degrees though, so the rain's helping us, but flash flooding needs to be watched in the next 24 hours. Off towards your weekend, it's just kind of hit and miss. So stick to your plans, but no, here comes a passing shower or thunderstorm. You have to plan around it.
Be prepared, right? That's what you're for.
Yeah, that's right.
Probably been pretty good sleeping weather until about now when folks got to get up and get out there and deal with this.
Yeah, it makes you kind of groggy, doesn't it?
So here you go. Stretch it out. Get going. All right, 6:11 on WKYT.
Each morning we bring you weather and traffic.
And here's Officer Don with a look at what's happening out there on the roads in the rain. Good morning, Don.
Good morning. Of course, that's going to slow us down as we get into rush hour, and be extra careful in the construction zones, even where crews are not working. Had some lane shifts and different things happening on Versailles Road at New Circle, also on the Todd's Road widening project. Let's get a look outside real quick. We'll show you traffic flow. No wrecks, so we're doing okay for now as we keep a close eye on the south side this morning and what's happening inbound on the north side. As far as drive times are concerned, we're holding our own. Get a live look at the wet roads out there, Richmond and Mount Tabor. That's courtesy of the Lexington Fayette Urban County government. Now back to you in the studio.
Okay, Don, thank you very much. And of course, Officer Don and Deanna are out there on 98.1 The Bull. You can listen in when you get in your car in the rain. Both hands on the wheel this morning, though, I'll tell you, with that rain coming down.
Plus the coffee, though, you should be good to go.
You'll be all right.
Hopefully getting a good start and making it through this rain.
More news coming up on your Thursday from WKYT.
Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump is now asking Russia to find Hillary Clinton's missing emails. More on the political issue here when we return.
Hey there, good morning. Welcome back into WKYT this morning on a rainy start to your Thursday at 6:16 right now. Federal officials say there is little doubt that Russia is behind the hacking of more than 19,000 emails from the Democratic National Committee.
This morning, the drama surrounding the email hack has Donald Trump calling on Russia to help find Hillary Clinton's missing State Department emails. Hannah Daniels has the latest.
Donald Trump's call to enlist foreign help against rival Hillary Clinton set off a political firestorm.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
A reference to emails from Hillary Clinton's non-secured private server while Secretary of State. At a packed Pennsylvania rally, the billionaire businessman says he has no ties to Russia and the DNC email hack.
I wish I had that power. Man, that would be power.
Democrats took Trump's controversial comments and ran with them on the third night of their convention.
Donald Trump today once again took Russia's side.
We cannot elect a man who belittles our closest allies while embracing dictators like Vladimir Putin.
The Trump campaign responded to the DNC message saying, "Never has a party been so disconnected from what is happening in our world." Hannah Daniels, CBS News.
Today, Vice President Joe Biden and Attorney General Loretta Lynch will speak at a public vigil honoring the 3 Baton Rouge police officers who lost their lives in the line of duty. The officers were ambushed by a former Marine more than a week ago. The gunman was later killed by SWAT officers. Authorities say today's event will give the community a chance to celebrate the officers' service and sacrifice.
Meantime, activists in Baltimore say they are angry and frustrated over the decision to drop all charges against 3 police officers in the Freddie Gray case. Prosecutors announced the decision yesterday after cases against 3 other officers failed to produce a single conviction. Gray died from injuries he suffered while being transported in a police van last year. Russia Russia's Olympic athletes will travel to Rio today as global sports bodies continue to decide whether or not to ban them from the Games. It comes after the International Olympic Committee decided to ignore a call for a blanket ban over allegations of state-backed doping in Russia. The Russian track and field athletes are among the 105 members already banned. It remains to be seen how many athletes will be allowed to compete, but more bans are expected.
6:18 is the time this morning. Computer hard drives could be soon getting much smaller. Dutch researchers have found a way to store data using chlorine atoms, packing information 500 times more densely than today's best hard drives. The breakthrough brings atomic scale storage closer to reality, but the researchers say it's still a ways off. U.S. investors may be buying American too often when it comes to stocks. A report from Vanguard on home country bias shows that while U.S. companies make up just 51% of the world's stock equity, Americans invest 79% of their portfolios in U.S. companies. The bias is a lot worse in Canada, which just makes up more than 3% of the world's stock value but draws more than half of Canadian investment. The Federal Reserve is not raising rates this summer. That's a different tone than Fed officials had in May when they said a rate increase in June or July would be appropriate. The change after the U.S. added a mere 11,000 jobs in May and after the U.K. voted to leave the European Union. The Fed expressed optimism about the economy's recent progress. However, some experts think there still remains a strong case to be made for the Fed to raise interest rates. Facebook shares are hitting an all-time high. The social media giant made $2 billion in the last quarter with a huge increase in ad revenue. Facebook says 1.13 billion people use its social media platform every single day. That's up 16% from last year.
All right, it is 6:20 on WKYT this morning. We are just getting started with all the latest news here on this rainy Thursday. A group of retirement home residents are proving there is no age limit for reaching stardom. We'll have a look at their hilarious viral video. It's coming up after the break and weather.
We got waves of heavy rain flying across the region. The heavy rain threat, it will be with us today, but when does it move out? I'm going to take you hour by hour, coming up in just a few minutes.
6:23 is the time. Welcome back in. At least one crash is being blamed on the heavy rain this morning.
And that's what's trending at this hour. A man was taken to the hospital after a car crashed into a motorized scooter on South Broadway. We're told the victim is expected to be okay. Police say they don't know exactly what caused it at this time, but they do believe that slick roadways and limited visibility certainly were factors in that. Be careful this morning as you head out. Give yourself a little bit of extra time. Let's get a quick check of the forecast with all that rain on this WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day.
Yeah, that's the main thing we're focusing in on is not just you trying to get out later on this afternoon, but this morning out on the roadways. They're very wet. Central, go into eastern Kentucky and western Kentucky is really for that 64 corridor, BG Parkway. We're starting to get some more rain down toward Bowling Green region, making its way toward Taylor, Adair, and Russell counties. So Marion County heads up there as well. Flash flood watch is in effect for everybody, but not everybody's seeing the rain right now. Southeastern zones, that comes later in the morning and into the afternoon hours. The first batch is now moving on out of the northeast, trying to at least. Still have a couple of showers left over here in the bluegrass. Take a bit of a break in terms of heavy rain, still a few sprinkles here and there. But then look back toward Bowling Green. Here comes that next wave that's going to be rolling on through into areas that have already seen rain. So in about 2 to 4 hours, expect the possibility of some flash flooding going on in central zones and also make your way into the northern zones. Today's forecast, in terms of severe impact, severe weather is virtually zero. However, we cannot rule out that flooding. The flooding is the main concern. We're going to be watching that the next 24 hours, guys. We'll talk about your Friday into your weekend forecast and give you an hour-by-hour forecast, help you plan out your day coming up.
Okay, we thank you very much. Everybody just be very ready for this rain today. We've been predicting it all week that this would be the day, and here it is. 6:25 now. Well, the old saying goes, age ain't nothing but a number. Well, just ask these residents at a New Zealand retirement home. Let's take a look.
And then they're shaking it off. The group going viral with an awesome and hilarious rendition of Taylor Swift's Shake It Off. The spoof is almost a shot-for-shot remake of Taylor's original video. According to the YouTube post, 50 residents from the community participated. Only instead of Swift's 80s throwback style, we have people in their 80s throwing back style. There you go. The video is receiving overwhelmingly positive response online and has thousands of views on YouTube alone. I can see why. They are shaking it off in style, doing what they do.
Having a good time.
Yeah.
It looks like.
Looks like they're having a lot of fun with it, too.
Yeah, and they said, well, haters going to hate, hate, hate. So they've got a few people who didn't like it, but almost everybody really likes that one. Good to have you along on WKYT this morning. Our top stories are on the way.
When we return, U.S. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell will be in the Bluegrass today. We'll have details on his visit to Bourbon County, and he's going to stop by the WKYT studios. It's coming up at 6:30.
Yeah, the details coming up on that. And tomorrow's Mega Millions is $20 million after nobody won last night. Saturday's Powerball jackpot has now climbed to $478 million. We'll be right back on WKYT.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning to you on the start of what looks to be a rainy and stormy Thursday. I'm Bill Bryant.
I'm Rebecca Smith. Try to stay dry out there. Have an umbrella handy because it is rainy.
Make plans for the rain. And now at 6:30, a man has been taken to the hospital after a crash early this morning. Weather may have played a factor in that. We'll have that and your weather forecast from Micah just ahead.
Hillary Clinton will formally accept her party's nomination for president tonight. The latest from the Democratic National Convention coming up.
Also on WKYT, the 2016 Wildcat kickoff today. UK coach Mark Stoops will share thoughts on the upcoming season. And have details on that big luncheon. It's ahead on WKYT This Morning.
Some of us already picked up an inch of rain early this morning, and a lot of us just now waking up down south and southeast. Not seeing any rain just yet, but we actually have some on the way as a flash flood watch is in effect for everyone. We'll get into that forecast coming up.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you.
Well, storms moved into the Bluegrass overnight, putting down a lot of rain in some areas, and the pattern looks to be the same throughout your Thursday.
At one point this morning, it was really tough out there, and WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris is going to join us back right here at the top with the update on this WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day.
Yeah, as we were coming into work early this morning, that batch of heaviest rain now over the AA highway, the actual state border of Ohio and also Kentucky, that was over Lexington, and it was a rough go at it traveling early this morning. So if you're about to take off, 64 corridors are going to be very wet. 75 going from Lexington northbound is extremely wet. 68, 62, Maysville Road, those areas are very, very wet this morning, and that'll go for the BG Parkway. And speaking of the BG Parkway, here comes another batch of rain that's going to be making its way northeast. Now, this is heading toward Lexington. It will affect that 68 corridor and also 150 through Danville and make your way back toward Springfield here in the next hour. Lexington is more like 2 hours away. But nonetheless, it's going to be waves of showers and thunderstorms, guys. And we're going to focus in on that. I'm going to show you when the southern half and southeastern half actually pick up on some rain and when the bulk of it moves on out. Your hour-by-hour forecast comes up in just a few minutes.
Micah, thank you. And there have already been some issues from this rain that is moving through several areas of the Commonwealth this morning.
Yeah, it's already responsible for an injury accident in Lexington. And WKYT's Mark Barber is joining us live with details on this.
Good morning, Rebecca. The man who crashed into that man who was driving a motorized wheelchair here at South Broadway and Gibson Avenue is not being charged because police say they do not know why he crashed. Now, investigators tell us that it could be related to the weather because it was dark and it was raining hard at the time of that crash. Now, the man in the wheelchair was taken to the hospital, but he is expected to be okay. We've learned from a gas station clerk here that that man who is in that wheelchair is a frequent customer in the area and that he says he's a veteran. But again, he is expected to recover. Now, it has been 2 hours since that crash happened, and the roads are still very wet, so caution is still needed for drivers this morning. The wet conditions out here are going to slow you down some, so it's not a bad idea to try to take a few extra minutes, maybe get out the door a little early. That way you have plenty of time to get where you need to go. Now, there is some good news as far as the morning commute looks like. We've got a driver out on the roads right now looking for ponding water. Right now, we are not seeing any standing water on any roadways, so that's not going to slow you down too much. But again, the road conditions are still very slick this morning. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you. We'll keep everybody updated, and we're working the story hard in our newsroom. It was a loud and wet start to the day, maybe good sleeping weather for some of you, but there are not, fortunately, many weather-related problems to report at this hour. At Bluegrass Airport this morning, already a few flights have taken off without any problems. Kentucky Utilities is reporting only a few outages scattered throughout central Kentucky right now. You can get the latest forecast and updates on the weather situation on WKYT.com and download the WKYT News app to take the First Alert Defender with you wherever you go.
Hillary Clinton is expected to formally accept her party's nomination for president tonight on the fourth and final day of the Democratic National Convention. At the convention yesterday, President Barack Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, and the newly minted VP nominee, Tim Kaine, delivered a multi-pronged attack on Donald Trump's policies and business record.
He has no clue about what makes America great. Actually, he has no clue, period.
The Donald is not really a plans guy. He's not really a facts guy either.
Former CIA Director Leon Panetta also used his remarks to bash Trump's recent call for Russia to find deleted emails from the private server Hillary Clinton used as Secretary of State. Chelsea Clinton is scheduled to introduce her mother tonight on the final day of the convention.
U.S. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell will be taping a Kentucky Newsmakers interview with me today at WKYT, and he is scheduled to stop in Bourbon County today. Senator McConnell will speak with members of the Paris-Bourbon County Chamber of Commerce about issues of importance to both the Commonwealth and the nation. That meeting is at noon at the Annunciation Parish Hall in Paris.
The state is appealing a judge's decision to dismiss a lawsuit against Planned Parenthood of Indiana and Kentucky. Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin says the group should be fined for performing abortions without a license at its new Louisville clinic. But an attorney for Planned Parenthood said they had permission from then-Governor Steve Beshear's administration. The case now heads to the Kentucky Court of Appeals. Developing news this morning out of Louisville. For the second time in 2 days, a car has been used to break into a gun store. WKYT's Michelle Chamberlain's at our alert desk with more.
Yeah, police believe the suspects may still be inside. WDRB in Louisville is reporting that a SWAT team is yelling for anyone that might be inside to come out with their hands up. This gun shop near Interstate 64, and police say someone backed a truck into the store early this morning. This after another gun store was broken into yesterday. Take a look at the pictures. A giant hole is what's left of the front door at Tilford's Discount Guns in Louisville. Police say the suspects used a stolen Corvette to ram into the door to make their entrance, causing thousands of dollars of damage. Now, by the time police arrived, the suspects had already made off with thousands of dollars worth of guns. Police are working with ATF to find the suspects of that burglary and, of course, track down the stolen weapons. Now, we'll keep you up to date throughout the morning with breaking news as we get more information. Guys.
All right, lots of similarities, it appears there. Thank you very much, Michelle. Well, you would think that crashing a car would be bad enough, but for two people in southern Kentucky, it got a whole lot worse right after that happened. Deputies say this went on Patton Spur Road in Laurel County when Noah Elkins and Priscilla Simpson hit a utility pole. Neither of them seriously injured in that, but then moments later, the duo said they were attacked by a swarm of bees.
And there's a guy come out screaming and squalling and running around about like a chicken with his head cut off.
Elkins and Simpson were taken to the local hospital with minor injuries after that bee attack. And that's when investigators say they found out the two were high on drugs at the time of the crash. Deputies have cited Elkins with DUI and charged Simpson with public intoxication.
There were some frightening moments at a Lexington apartment complex. Police say a van hit a child. Happened last night about 7:30 off Regency Road. Police say the child was on a scooter in a parking lot at the time.
The person driving the van went, saw her, slowed down, and was trying to negotiate that slow turn over there, and he didn't know that she had actually kind of ran parallel to the vehicle, and he hit her.
Police say the child was taken to Kentucky Children's Hospital with a head injury and road rash. He's expected to be okay. Police say the driver of the van was cooperative and they will not be filing any charges.
Now 6:38 here on WKYT this morning. A Bell County mother says her 5-year-old son was stuck by a needle that he found near their home. Ashley Collins says her two sons were playing outside on Saturday when they found two needles next to a tree. She says that's when her youngest was stuck by one of the needles and started bleeding.
If this would have never happened, I would have never thought, I'm going to have to teach my kids, hey, you're going to have to look for a needle on the ground. You can't go outside and play till Mommy goes and checks the area.
Collins took her son to the emergency room. Doctors said her son would be needing blood tests over the next year to make sure he didn't contract any diseases from the needle.
More than 100 people attended a rally in Lexington asking for an end to deadly shootings involving police. 2 Lexington teenagers decided to organize the rally after 2 black men were killed by white police officers in Louisiana and Minnesota earlier this month. This rally was held outside the Fayette County Courthouse. The teens told us they use social media to spread word about it.
It's unity, it's togetherness. And you look around, you don't just see black people out here. You see black people, white people, young people, old people. Everybody's coming out here together from an event that 2 16-year-olds made.
The teens say they felt the impact and they really wanted to spread their message of unity based on the response for the rally. They also wanted to be clear that the event was not anti-police.
Well, it is almost football season. The 2016 Wildcat Kickoff Luncheon is today.
Hosted by the Greater Louisville UK Alumni Club and Central Bank, this year's luncheon will be at the Galt House Hotel in downtown Louisville. UK head coach Mark Stoops, defensive coordinator DJ Elliott, and offensive coordinator Eddie Grant will share their thoughts on the upcoming season. Fans will also get a sneak peek at the latest highlight film and will be able to take part in a Q&A session with Coach Stoops. Be sure to catch our sports guys on air throughout the day for complete coverage of today's luncheon. You'll be able to find the latest updates on our sports page at WKYT.com. What a nice setting for that as well, the Galt House Hotel. Very nice.
It is nice, and it's going to be fun to see what it looks like for the season ahead for the Cats.
A lot of people looking forward to that. Let's get a check of traffic and see what's happening out there on the roads. We know it's raining.
Let's go to Officer Don with a check on live drive traffic. Good morning, Don.
Good morning. Of course, the rain will have an impact for us as we get into rush hour a little bit more. Right now, traffic flows light enough. Not a big deal. We just had a look at Versailles Road through the construction zone there. Of course, it's a little slower this morning, both in and outbound near the circle, so be careful if that's part of your route. The inner and outer loops actually look okay. Let's get a look outside and we'll show you drive times right now. From Nicholasville, 13 minutes. From Georgetown's running about 18 and about 21 to get from Lexington to from Winchester to Lexington. Now back to you in the studio.
Right, Don, thank you so much. And as this rain rolls through, a reminder, you can get the latest traffic and weather info anytime with the WKYT Weather Plus Traffic app. Download that for free in the app or Google Play stores. Good morning to you. Rainy Thursday on WKYT, and we have a lot more news coming up for you as you stay right here.
Try to stay dry out there. The Michigan State Police gave a sick boy a day he will never forget by making him an honorary state trooper. Heartwarming story when we return.
The first wave is now trying to move out of northern Kentucky. We're having bits and pieces of some light showers here and there, but the next wave toward Bowling Green heads our direction. We'll get into those wet conditions coming up next. Still seeing those showers roll across the region. Some rumbles of thunder back toward the northeast. I'm meteorologist Micah Harris getting you updated on your morning. And Lawrence County really about to get in on the brunt of it. And that goes for Boyd County, Greenup County, Carter County already saw the brunt of it, trying to get out of that county at this moment. So some moderate to heavier rain back toward the east and northeast. Still some now crossing over that 71 corridor up toward the north and northwest. And then you look back towards, say, the Lexington area. Not a lot of rain and bits and pieces across the bluegrass. Your light to moderate rain. The heaviest rain, the first batch, has already rolled through Lexington. Here comes the next batch. Go down 68, go through Campbellsville, Lebanon, Bradfordsville. It's going to be next in line. Springfield, Willisburg, Mackville. Those areas, watch for some more rain to slide on in here in the next hour or so, if you're not already seeing it right now. And that all transitions northeast. So there's that batch of rain that we're looking at down toward, say, Taylor, Adair, Greene, and also Marion counties at this moment. Over Lexington around 9 a.m., 8 to about 9 a.m. Still look at the south and southeast. Still, you guys not picking up on a lot of that rain until we hit toward noon and into the afternoon hours. And you can see bits and pieces, just waves flying on in here. Here's noontime. By this time, I expect flash flood warnings across the area, at least in some spots. We get into the afternoon. Watch this, okay? From noon to about 4 p.m. Southeast, that's when you'll really, noon to about 5 p.m. That's when the southeast really gets in on the mix. So the heaviest rain, it comes during that time, and even some thunderstorms that will put down tremendous amounts of rain, which means even yesterday we had some flash flood warnings, so the ground's already saturated. It's not going to take much to get some of this rain going and have some flooding issues. But look on the back side of it. Look at 6 p.m. not much going on, right? We do take a big break. Late afternoon, early evening, we take a big break from the rain. That doesn't mean it's over, but it means the bulk of the rain has already moved on out during that time. So morning hours into about, I would say 5, 6 p.m., that's the bulk of the rain, and then it moves on out. But that doesn't mean it is long gone. Spotty showers, thunderstorms Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Pretty much is hit and miss like we've had past few days. Some get it, some do not. Stick to your plans. Just know you may have to adjust around some of those rumbles of thunder like we've had the past couple of days. Believe it or not, the past couple of days, some people put on my Facebook and Twitter last night that they haven't even seen rain. So just because you've seen rain doesn't mean everybody has. And that's the same type of setup we're going to be expecting Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Like I was talking about, there are a lot of events going on. We're going to talk about those events coming up. But a lot of events going on that you still need to go out to, but like I was talking about, just try to make plans that if a thunderstorm does come through, what do you do then, okay? Because I know a lot of kids are trying to get the kids out of the house, especially after the day. Today's that heavy rain. 79 degrees. We just went through 7 out of 9 days of 90 to 95 degrees, and now we're at 79. Of course, it's because of the rain, but, you know.
Well,
and with 70. Wow.
With all the rain, the one thing that is evaporating, days off between now and the start of school.
There
so,
you
know.
Way to be a buzzkill, man.
Well, we're excited about 79, and then it's school.
Okay, we'll enjoy the 79 and the rain. 6:48 on WKYT.
Well, this might lift your spirits a little bit. There's a new trooper in the ranks of the Michigan State Police.
His name is Aiden. He is 5 years old, and he is fighting leukemia. Well, Aiden has been through a lot in his young life. He's always dreamed of being a police officer. So after a few members of the state police found out about Aiden's dream, they decided to help make his big dream come true.
And here's an opportunity for us to be able to bring some happiness to a young man's life and to his family, and to let the public know that their Michigan State Police are out here to protect them and to serve them with a true purpose.
Aiden was trained on everything from helicopters to canine units, and he also got his own uniform, as you see him there, moving around in. And he called it the experience of his life, by the way.
He's loving that. That's so cool.
Good deed all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
6:49 now on WKYT this morning, and our top stories are on the way.
We have more news. Stay with us.
Coming up, we're in Philadelphia where we'll talk with Hillary Clinton's campaign manager about her message in tonight's acceptance speech, plus controversy over Donald Trump's remarks about Russia and Clinton's missing emails. More real news coming up on CBS This Morning, next.
Welcome back. It's 6:52. A SWAT team has a Louisville gun store surrounded. That's just one of the stories making headlines right now.
And Michelle is joining us now with a look at what is trending on the web. Michelle?
Bill and Rebecca, a truck slammed into that gun store around 4:30 this morning. Police don't know where the driver is or if anything was stolen from the gun store. Now, this is the second day in a row that a vehicle has crashed into a gun store in Louisville. Several guns were stolen in a break-in yesterday, and no arrests have been made. An alleged serial robber will face a judge in Lexington again today. Kelly Cox was arrested yesterday, and police say he robbed a gas station and 2 banks last week. We've learned he was out of prison on parole for robbing a Lexington bank at the time of the latest robberies. And on WKYT.com, you can watch cell phone video of a Lexington man who was arrested, accused of causing a disturbance on a flight to Charlotte.
Okay, thank you very much, and we will keep you updated on air and online throughout the day today, including this rain that is moving through. A Central Kentucky restaurant is giving back to a man who was badly injured in a shooting outside a Lexington bar. Back in May, Skylar Ray was shot in the head in the parking lot of Saddle Ridge Bar. Yesterday, his friends showed up with Jake's Dine-In up in Cynthiana, who donated 10% of their sales to go toward Ray's medical bills. The owner said he wanted to help out after seeing a GoFundMe page for Ray started by one of their regular customers.
I think it goes to show, living in a small town, the community will get behind you no matter what. In the time of need, Paris and Cynthiana both have always, been there.
Another fundraiser on Saturday will center around skateboarding, which was Ray's favorite activity.
A Kentucky police officer is homeless this morning after a fire ripped through his Taylor County home. Investigators think lightning hit the home yesterday morning. Hodgkinville police officer Eddie Dockery was on duty at the time. Fortunately, his wife and 2-year-old son were able to get out safely. A new study finds that getting rid of red light cameras can have fatal consequences. According to the study by the insurance industry, traffic deaths from red light running crashes goes up by nearly a third after cities turn off those cameras. While cities continue to add cameras at intersections with traffic signals, at least 158 communities have ended their red light camera programs in the past 5 years.
A major milestone at Apple. The company says it has sold its 1 billionth iPhone last week, but they didn't give any information on where. Apple started selling their signature product 9 years ago. At current pacing, Apple is on course to sell its 2 billionth iPhone by 2020. CEO Tim Cook says it is now an essential part of our daily lives. And many would agree with that, certainly.
Yeah.
Well, Pokemon Go just keeps going and going and going.
And speaking of needing to need your phone, right? For this one, app research firm Sensor Tower estimates the augmented reality game has reached a new milestone of 75 million downloads. Sensor Tower says that it puts it in the class by itself for the first month mobile game downloads. So far, it's only been launched in 32 of more than 100 markets that the Apple App Store and Google Play operate. Sensor Tower also says Pokemon Go is the fastest game to pass 50 million downloads. It reached that milestone in just 19 days.
Amazing. President Obama has selected a site for his presidential library. It will be located in Jackson Park on Chicago's South Side. The center will include a library housing the presidential archives, a museum devoted to Obama's 8-year tenure at the White House, and the headquarters of the Obama Foundation. The Obama Foundation will fund the design, construction, and planning of the center, which is expected to cost at least $500 million. Well, as we said earlier, it's been good sleeping weather for many folks in the overnight hours and maybe early this morning with the rain, but now.
You're pretty lucky if you're able to sleep some, right? Let's get a check with Micah.
Yeah, no kidding. And then you got to get up and you got to walk out in this mess and drive in this mess. Look, 75 north of Lexington, it's going to be soaked. West, east of Lexington, soaked. BG Parkway, absolutely drenched. And you know what? The first batch has already tried to move on out. Next batch in line is heading our direction. They're going to be rolling up that 68 corridor and 150. Those are areas that's going to be very wet this morning. Should be in Lexington by, I would say, about 9 a.m. Let's take you hour by hour real quick. And there's 9 a.m. and you can see it's around Lexington, Bluegrass region and into the northern zones. Flash flood warnings will be likely during this time because we've already had some heavy rain early this morning. Once we hit the afternoon hours, guys, that's when the south and southeastern zones really get the brunt of it. You'll have some before that, but the brunt of it comes during that time. But look at 6, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Look at that trying to clear on out. So the brunt of it is now through about 5 to 6 p.m.
Okay, so everybody be ready for that. Prepare for the rain. Nobody is more up to date than you to start your day. Thank you for being with WKYT.
Have a great one.